Welcome, everybody, to the Sonoma Spiel. My name is Tim. I'm here on a beautiful day in Sonoma Valley. But, of course, it's always a beautiful day in Sonoma Valley, and not just because I'm paid to say that. Hey, before we get started, this is a very special podcast version of Sonoma Spiel because we're talking about Safari West. We'll get into that. But, parents, if your kids are listening, we might be talking about birds do it, bees do it, even educated fleas do it, wild jungle love. So it might not be something you want to have your kids listening to, even though it won't be salacious, but it will probably be biologically correct because we always strive to do that. So hide your children. Here it comes. It's the Sonoma Spiel. Today, everybody, I've got three very special guests. I know every week I say I've got a very special guest. This time, I absolutely mean it for sure. We've got Nate Woodward from Safari West. Nate, hello.
Hello.
Sammy from Safari West, hello.
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Sam, you want to say your last name or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Sammy Johnson.
Okay, Sammy Johnson from Safari West. And a woman who needs no introduction. I've known her for a very long time. She's fabulous. She's fun. And she lives near where she works. Aphrodite Caserta with Safari West.
Hi there.
How you doing, Aphrodite?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good. Guys, before we go too deep into this, what the heck is Safari West? Why are we talking about it in wine country? What is it?
It's an incredible piece of the Sonoma Serengeti. That's what we call ourselves. Okay. I mean, wine is better enjoyed with a spot of Cheetah. I mean, how often do you enjoy a glass of wine just by itself?
I was wondering where you were going to go.
Really now. I mean, wine and rhinos, where does it come from? I mean, it's just an incredible place. And plus, we have glorious animals, but it is it's a luxury.
And so this place is, my understanding, it's about 45 minutes. Well, it depends on how you define Sonoma Valley.
Yep.
From where we are now, it's anywhere from 45 to maybe 55 minutes to go up the hill, maybe? Is that about right?
Yeah, 45-ish, yeah.
It's in northern Santa Rosa-ish, or northeastern Santa Rosa. It's on the hills between Napa and Sonoma. And how big of a place is this?
So we're about 400 acres, and on those 400 acres, we have around 900 animals that live there.
Oh.
Yeah. Safari West is technically a zoo, but visiting us feels very different from visiting a typical zoo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, I got to bring this up. You mentioned zoo, and I'm sorry to mention it. The Dallas Zoo had some animals go missing. Did you guys hear about this? Someone stole a monkey, and then they found the monkey.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up bad news so early in the podcast, but I just can't believe that monkeys can go missing.
Well, it wasn't. It was a malicious act. It was a very malicious act.
It was a malicious act?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody literally went in there and compromised.
They stole the monkeys.
Yes.
It sounded to me like, I'm sad that it was a sad thing, but it sounded like the beginning of one of those Disney movies I used to watch as a kid. Like Herbie goes to the zoo, and like they jump into the Herbie, the love bug, Aphrodite, and they go zipping down Porter Creek Road, or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, but that was my mind. Okay, so you're a zoo, 400 acres, in Santa Rosa. Do you concentrate on a special type of animal from a specific area, or is it any kind of animal?
Hoofstock from Africa. That's our specialty.
Hoofstock?
Hoofstock.
What is that, ungulates?
Well, Peter fell in love with hoofstock when Peter had the last cattle ranch in Beverly Hills. We're going back 32 years.
Okay, this is like a Disney movie. So there was a cattle ranch in Beverly Hills.
He had a cattle ranch in Beverly Hills. And his father, Otto Lang, was the producer in Hollywood.
Okay.
Peter grew up in the back sets of Hollywood, and he went to Africa quite often on location.
Okay.
But he just fell in love with the eland, I think it was initially.
It was
initially the eland.
And the eland is an animal?
It's an antelope.
Yes, it is an animal.
It's a very
type
large
of antelope.
Yeah.
Okay. So he fell in love with an eland.
Yes, and then, of course...
Her name was Deborah.
Oh, yes.
No, stop. Wait, I thought we were talking like Valentine's Day. So, wait, he fell in love with the concept of elands or a very specific eland?
An actual eland, because on his ranch, he told me that the elands ate all the poison oak. And he realized he had something going there. But Peter is really a different person. He's kind of a biophiliac. I mean, his eyes twinkle when he sees animals.
Okay.
And they're bright blue. And if you've ever seen him close up to a giraffe and talk about it, all of a sudden the eyes is
he gets very excited about
There's a glow.
Elands.
There's a glow. There's a definite glow.
Okay, so this guy's down in Santa Barbara. He's out in Palm Springs. Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills.
Sorry, Northern California. Once you get south of Monterey, it's all the same. So basically, he's down in Beverly Hills. He's got a cattle ranch which also has an Eland named Deborah on it. He falls in love with it. How did he end up in Santa Rosa? I don't understand what's going on.
Well, I'm not too sure if he was pushed out of Beverly Hills or not. I don't think Beverly Hills really enjoyed a cattle ranch in it. Okay. So it was time for him to relocate. And he obviously got very attached to African hoofstock. And he got attached to the whole idea of protecting animals.
Okay.
I mean, that's really what he's involved with. So he looked for a bigger ranch and looked for something that had a bit of a Serengeti in it. And Sonoma is an absolutely glorious weather. It's glorious for all the giraffes and rhinos. I mean, they love it. They absolutely love the area. Okay. They have 400 acres to roam on. And so you can't be any better than that.
And how long ago did they come up here to set up Safari West? What year did they arrive?
1993.
1993. They filled up a bus with all these animals, and they had like a
Noah's
Noah's Ark that went up high five. No? Okay.
Noah's bus.
Noah's bus. All right, so they came up here, they've established it, and now, how many different animals?
We've got about 90 different species.
90 different species.
Yeah.
And is this a place that you just show up for the day and see it, or do you just drive by and see the animals? How does it? What's the experience of safari?
You got a couple options. So we do day tours. All of our experiences are guided. So when you show up, you've got a safari guide like me or Sammy. And
you guys drive the Jeeps.
We Dodge Power Wagons.
Those are amazing. These double-decker Jeep Power Wagons. Is that what you're calling them?
Dodge Power Wagons, yeah.
Yeah, they're sweet safari trucks. Okay. But 3 hours with your guide driving through the preserve, looking for as many animals as you can, and then your guide will stop and tell you what makes each animal so special.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also spend the night there, which is super cool.
Wait a minute. I can actually go on a safari in the Sonoma Serengeti overnight.
Yeah. We've got these big, wonderful canvas tents that are very similar to what you might stay in certain parts of Africa, but we've furnished them up with big fancy beds and electricity and, in several cases, Wi-Fi, so it's not really roughing it by any means. But you open your door, you walk out onto your porch, and you see giraffe and antelope and gazelle, and it's a really fun experience.
And how many cabins are there? How many rooms or whatever you call these things?
We got 30 cabins along the hillside.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can book that too. Like you don't have to it's like a hotel essentially, that you don't have to be a safari person. You don't have to be a member of a club. You don't have to because anybody can book it, right?
It's true.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
If you love animals, I mean, that's one of our criteria. One of our criteria are you've got to love and respect
fan of
animals.
This is probably not for you. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, you've got to respect animals.
But it seems like Safari West also has a mission or some sort of underlying. It's not just to have a menagerie of cool animals. Is there something else you guys are doing up there?
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah?
Yes.
Who wants to handle that one? Go.
I mean, I'll take it. I don't want to step on anybody's toes here.
You have a foundation.
I'll get into the foundation program in just a second here, but main mission of Safari West is that these animals, they're really special. The wild places that they come from, they're really special. And people, of course, understand that animals are special, but when you tell someone that giraffe are endangered, they might say, oh, that's sad. But if you bring someone out to a preserve, you show them a herd of giraffe, you teach them all the different things that make giraffe special, you form that emotional connection with the animal through your guide, and then you talk about how they're endangered, suddenly you have someone who will advocate for that animal's conservation. You create people passionate about wildlife within the community, and that applies to wildlife from Africa, and it also applies to native wildlife here in California. So we are a fun thing to do, and we love being a fun thing to do, but we also hope that all of our guests leave with a more conservation-based mindset, understanding that all of this is special, yes, and all of it will remain special if we work as a collective to conserve what we have.
Okay.
So that's kind of why we're there. Along with that, we do have a foundation. So the Safari West Wildlife Foundation is the nonprofit arm of Safari West, and we do programs that are generally focused on education, specifically for kids. Okay. And we'll, sponsor field trips to come out there. We will have groups of kids that come learn what it's like to care for these animals on the weekends, and then we also do broadcast virtual safaris.
Nate, are you getting free labor out of school kids by time to clean up the giraffe enclosure, or is it more about learning about how animals, what it takes to care for these animals and things like that.
What it takes to care for these animals. A lot of cases, these are kids that have an interest in going into a field as a career later on where they would get to work with these animals. And this is sort of an education program for what careers like that might look like, as well as learning, up close what makes them special.
So I want to interrupt that. Sammy, Nate, Aphrodite, how did you guys come to working at an African Serengeti park in wine country? I'll throw it to Sammy first, work with it, because it is kind of weird. Like, do you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm going to go work at a safari thing? Like, how did you come to that?
If you trace the path that took me here back, it doesn't make any sense, except for the very beginning root of it, which was basically as a young child born in Sonoma County, I was obsessed with animals, like a lot of kids I knew. My grandparents had this thing like, oh, he never stops talking about animals. Maybe this will shut him up. Let's take him to this place, It's just up the road. And funny enough, my grandfather knows Peter Lang through personal channels. And I went to Safari West for the first time as a child when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And the impact was tremendous. And I left there remembering very specifically fennec foxes.
What are fennec foxes?
They're this tiny little, if anyone who's listening has been to Safari West, they will remember this animal, I guarantee it. They're the smallest species of fox on the planet.
Okay.
In fact, they're the smallest naturally occurring canid. So they're a tiny little, like, white to light sand colored fox.
Are they smaller than a Chihuahua?
Yeah, it depends on the Chihuahua. They're in the same, they're like a Pomeranian sort of size category, 3 to 5 pounds or so.
Okay.
But I left there like obsessed with the fennec fox largely, and then I went back a few times as a kid throughout the years, and then I left my last career after 9 years of doing the same thing, and I asked my grandfather, who's kind of like my guru. I was like, I'm not really sure what to do next, and he was like,
wait, your other career was not in animals?
Not at all.
You weren't a vet tech?
I was in funny enough, I was in emergency medical dispatch for aircraft through local company Reach.
You were for Reach, okay.
Yeah. So I did that for a long while, and then I kind of reached out and I was asking my grandfather, like, I need some guidance here. And he was like, well, why don't you follow your passion for once? And I was like, well, I don't have like,
Johnny Paycheck.
Exactly. And I was like, well, thanks for, telling me that. But it brought up I do want to get involved in wildlife, and what a better place to start. So I reached out to Safari West, and funny enough, I was started off there interviewing to be part of the maintenance team, building fences and taking care of animal habitats and things like that. And then found out there was a guide position available, which is what I tremendously excited about. And the rest is history. About 3 years later.
You've been there. Okay. Yeah. Now we'll jump to Nate, because I think you've been there I know Aphrodite's been there the longest. So, Nate, how did you end up at Safari West? And don't just say, I applied for a job and just took it.
Well, I did.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I've been there about 8 years now. And, much like Sammy, I was in a totally different career path beforehand. And upon moving from Southern California back to Northern California, where I was from, I wanted to take a temporary job that would be something fun before I went back to a more office-oriented career that I had been in. So I wanted something outdoors, something fun, something with animals. I had a friend that was working at Safari West at the time as a carnivore keeper, and she said it was the coolest job she ever had. Okay. So I said, I'm going to do that. So I applied for the guide position, and I worked as a tour guide for a couple of years there, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to wear a bunch of different hats at the company. We are a family business that has grown to a pretty good size, but being a family business, they're really accommodating with, how to do this, you want to try doing that here, right. And it's been absolutely wonderful. So that's how I got into it. It was what was going to be a summer job 8 years ago for one summer, and
here you are.
Here I am.
All right, very good. And then I should also mention, Nate, during the dark times, during the COVID times, you and I were contacting, so we did a couple live streams. I think you had a Giraffe as a guest appearance, and you did a lot of neat stuff. And I think you became their camera person or social media intern / guide / whatever.
Yeah, I started out as a tour guide. I transitioned to be the office manager when they realized I had a business background. And then the dark times when we didn't have any guests on property, I decided to break my camera out and start streaming and making video content. And everybody went, oh, you know how to do this. Cool.
Right.
Keep doing that. And I did as best I could.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then Aphrodite, I know you've been there 1 or 2 years. How did you get involved with Safari West?
Completely different story. I grew up in San Francisco. I was born and raised in San Francisco, but every single summer we spent in Sonoma County since I was 5 years old.
Okay, so you're local.
But it's somewhat local because somewhat local. But I guess maybe 25 years ago, it had to be that long ago, I retired from my position in San Francisco. I was working for a .com company, and my husband said, where do you want to live? And we sold our home in San Francisco, and I said, oh, God, I love Sonoma. I just absolutely love Sonoma. So we were looking for a house, and I found the house that we're at, and I went to the back area of the house, and I saw a giraffe over the fence. I go, what in the heck is this?
Wait, so when you're like looking at the house with the realtor, and you're like, is there anything we should know about the property?
The neighbors are weird.
I said, I've got some bad gnus.
I mean, it was just incredible. There was this beautiful giraffe, and I'm staring at it, and my husband's saying, Diddy's my nickname, by the way. Diddy, do you like the house? And I'm just like, did you see the giraffe? And so, and it has a creek, which I love a creek.
Oh, right, okay.
So in any sense, we bought the house. I come to find out that a distant friend of mine, Nancy Lang, owned Safari West.
Oh, okay.
And so I went over to see Nancy because I grew up in the city. We did not see animals close up.
Right.
Even though when we went to Sonoma, it was strictly eggs, farmland.
Very agricultural.
So I never saw an animal other than on television.
A raccoon.
Yeah, so I mean, seeing a zebra close up with their stripes, seeing a giraffe close up with that tongue.
Right.
It's incredible. And I asked Nancy, because I was a marketer in my other position, I said, did you need any marketing at all? And she goes, oh, we'd love it. I go, I'm here.
Right.
And then I think maybe the second day, we were very loosey-goosey then. We just started. And I was talking to Peter, and he handed me a lemur to hold while he was fixing
like, Here,
the
hold
habitat.
This.
And I'm here with this lemur in my hand. And I told my husband, I came home, I go, I'm never leaving. I'm just never leaving.
What's, Aphrodite, a lemur is like a little monkey, isn't it?
Well, they're primate.
They're primates? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to use words that I actually don't know what they mean, so don't worry about correcting me. Because you said canid, primate, marsupial, what else? Elan?
You made a great GNU reference.
GNU, well.
That was fantastic. I got to comment.
You always
on
got
that.
to get a GNU thing. Well, tell me, guys, at Safari West, I know people can go there anytime they want, and this is parents, hide your kids. There is a certain thing you do around Valentine's Day. Actually, you probably do it all the time. I don't know. But I want to talk about, can we talk about the
ins
tour?
And outs of animal courtship?
Thank you. And I know you're marketing. It's called Wild Jungle Love or the Valentine's Day at Safari West. What is this? Talk to me. What is it?
If I was just mentioning it, Sammy, do it. What it is, there's a rumble in the jungle, and it's quite alive at Safari West.
So, a rumble in the jungle, quite alive at Safari West. And so tell me what's going on. Valentine's Day is about love. It's about romance. And so normally it's like chocolate and wines and let's go out to dinner. But as you know, going out to dinner on Valentine's Day is the worst night ever. It's like New Year's Eve, right? It's just like amateur hour. Don't do it. So something different is like the week of Valentine's Day. You guys have special tours. What is it? Talk to me.
So it's more than just a tour. It's a tour. It's got a meal paired with it. It also has an accompanying presentation and quiz.
Wait, there's a quiz?
There's a quiz. Okay. And the quiz is very fun because it happens first, and it's just a kind of like...
Okay.
You
throw low stakes quiz.
Yeah, it's very much so multiple choice. There's no there's always competition.
It's like the first day of school when you're back from the summer. They're really just trying to see how much you don't know before you go there.
You establish your baseline.
Okay.
So what you do, it's really actually a lot of fun because it's a huge key talking point when you're talking about wildlife and biodiversity. Is sexual selection is one of the most crucial parts of natural selection. So wildlife behavior, some of the things we see at the park and some of the things you see in the wider world, it's just strange when you just stop and look at it for what it is.
What is going on there?
Yeah. And people, I mean, we talk, like you said, we do talk a little bit about some of the stuff on a daily basis at Safari West, but this Jungle Love presentation and tour kind of allows us to focus in on some more of the either courtship behavior or physiological breeding things surrounding wildlife that we have. But the quiz is really just it's a fun icebreaker.
Wait, do you have a question that you're allowed to ask on this? And this is not for the
From
radio.
said quiz?
From said quiz. You have one or a similar one that I can try to answer or not. I don't have to. And I know I'm putting you on the spot here. But
I'll give you kind of a, without ruining the quiz for anyone who might be listening and also coming and getting a head start here. We had talked about ducks a little before you started here.
Ducks.
So like one of the questions is something along the lines of like, what crime should most ducks be committed or what crime do most ducks commit? And some of the questions are like wire fraud. And then there's one that, rhymes with grape.
Yeah, ducks are jerks.
Yeah.
Ducks are mean. I mean, we have ducks in the pond. It's funny you mentioned this. We have at the plaza, we have ducks, and they go through the season where they have to make ducklings, and we get complaints every day during that season about that duck is fighting that duck. I'm like, they're actually not fighting. I mean, they are, but there's but it's always when the school kids are here for their the field trips. There's always like 100 fourth graders, and then a bunch of randy ducks, and I'm like, this is just not mixed at all.
Well,
so, yeah.
It's funny, we run into that problem at Safari West all the time. We as guides love talking about everything we see in the field, and sometimes that is, reproductive kind of things, and it always happens that we have a truck full of Girl Scouts or first graders when we happen upon that kind of stuff, and it's what I can talk about's kind of limited right now, and then when we have a truck full of all adults, nothing.
They're just sitting there chewing their
I mean, they'll still be interesting, but they won't be doing that.
Right. So
it's a Murphy's Law.
So the idea of this was like, okay, let's take all those awkward moments, let's package them together around Valentine's Day and talk about them. But you can't just tell the animals now's the time to go guys. It doesn't work. You can't put on some music.
It is the right time of year for many of them.
Is it? So February is when a lot of them are in their reproductive cycles for mating?
I mean, for example, right now, our warthogs are making babies right now. Our hyenas are making babies right now.
Really?
We have a handful of birds in our aviary that have started laying eggs. So not everything, but for several of our species, it's a good time.
Do some of them go year-round or some of them only at certain times?
It all depends on the animal.
It depends on the animal. Like a lot of the antelope probably never stop having babies year round.
Oh, really? Okay.
The roan antelope.
The roan antelope,
Are primates more year-round and then other animals are cyclical?
I don't know if you could... I don't know if you could generalize it like that necessarily. There's certainly a lot of factors that determine whether you have breeding seasons or... In fact, there's a lot of... debate as to like what triggers certain species breeding cycles and seasons. So, for example, wildebeest, some people say that it has to do with the rains triggering triggering female hormones.
In Africa, there's these monsoon rains that come in and there's a dry season and they have to
it could very much so be related to that. It could be something entirely different.
I mean, it could also be scarcity and abundance of food. And as you might imagine, we don't starve our animals because we like taking good care of them. Okay, so I know you have giraffes, like in the local paper, Aphrodite, you do a great job, and their social media team, of like when a baby giraffe is born, all of Sonoma County and North Bay knows about it. Actually, all of Northern California seems to know about it because it always gets in the Chronicle and the local newspaper and stuff. Is there a season for giraffes being born? Are they kind of born all the time? Or how does that work? And they're so cute.
Oh, they're beautiful. It's priceless when a giraffe is born. They have that drop.
Yeah, do they lay down or are they sort of...
No.
You have to catch them?
If you were a baby giraffe, you'd wish mom laid down.
So from the birthing...
It's a rude awakening for a baby giraffe.
How long of a drop is it from there to the ground?
Like 6 feet.
5.5 to 6 feet.
Yeah, they just drop them.
But that's how they breed,
plop
right?
on the
That
ground?
causes them to
Yeah.
breed.
So again, we talked about a little bit about like sexual selection
Right.
being integral or a component of evolution. So that drop seems hard to us, but in the same way that like doctors used to spank human babies
Right,
to get them
right.
to cry, get their
Right.
heart rates and their lungs working. Sometimes baby giraffes need a little bit of a...
Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, many
It
times.
literally drops out of the mom
Yeah.
onto the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think anybody that's worked there for a whole season has seen this at
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
once.
Oh, yeah.
And it's wild.
And it's so interesting.
yeah.
Is there, like, you haven't had a rhinoceros breed, have you? Because I know you have a
Not
rhinoceros.
yet.
We have a male and a female, and we have our fingers crossed.
Okay.
And we're going to make a big deal about it if we have news.
Okay, if
but
that happens. That must be pretty
yeah.
big news. What animal is really prolific up there? You have a lot of babies that are coming.
Roan antelope.
Yeah. We alluded to the roan antelope. A lot of antelope breed very well at our facility.
Okay.
For whatever reason, a lot of facilities struggle to breed this particular variety of antelope, but they are extraordinarily prolific at
it's-
our facility.
It's Safari West where the deer and the antelope play.
It's actually true.
yeah, pretty much.
Are there any interesting facts that you say during this tour that are like, wow, that's amazing, I never knew that was a thing? Or is it like, Tim,
I like to
buy a
think
ticket?
everything I say.
Oh, God.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, we get to talk about Fleming a little bit more. That's always fun.
Fleming's response.
Flemings? Fleming?
So,
Is this
do you
an
have
animal?
a cat? Or ever had a cat?
Okay, here's the deal. I have 3 cats, 3 puppies that we're fostering, a lizard I don't like, a frog that bites me.
So you're starting your own preserve.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, we have cats, but they're all fixed.
Okay.
They're all fixed.
Cats are pretty famous for making. They'll sniff genitalia or sometimes just anything, and then they'll kind of have their mouth like
They're gonna bite you.
they have
I
this
don't
weird
trust cats.
jaw open.
Yeah, I don't trust
mouth
cats at all.
It's called the Fleming's response. A lot of animals have this. There's an organ in their mouths that's called the Jacobson's organ.
Oh,
and
yeah, snakes
they're
have
really and it's so funny because like you said, when we have a lot of these behaviors, it's usually a group of children and you have a group of kids and you're talking about how amazing giraffe are, and then you look over and the male giraffe's got his tongue out and he's going low and they all start screaming.
And is that like a
Ew,
cradle
gross.
thing here? Is
He's
that what's
drinking
going on?
her. Right. So it's
Always when as a kid. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's call it Fleming.
Fleming's response.
Flemen or something.
There's an H in there. Flehhmen.
I'm just asking since somehow I have to work that into a conversation later.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
and
luck.
it's funny. Do you guys want a frog that bites people? It's called a Pac-Man frog. I don't know. They're like these frogs.
seen those.
They eat mice. If you guys want one, I'll drop it off. Because it's my daughter's frog. I hate it.
If we ever start an amphibian section,
Thank
we'll
you.
call you.
Sure, yeah.
This is the worst pet ever because he lives under dirt and he only comes out at night, and you only feed him like once a week or something. You know, like reptiles and amphibians. And I just hate this guy because my daughter's like, "Well, you got to help me feed him," but your fingers look like the pinkies, the fish, the mice that you give him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know why I'm scared of a frog, but it's a 1 pound frog. It's as big as your hand. It's like,
It's a big frog.
yeah, it's like a quarter pounder, but 12 of them. I don't do very good math, but okay. So here we go. Safari West, you have the Wild Jungle Love Tour. Where can I get more information, and when is that, and how do I book tickets?
So it's the 11th and 12th of February.
Of February,
this month.
okay.
Right on our website.
Website has a lot of information about it.
Yeah, right on our website.
SafariWest.com?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
and you will see lemurs embraced in love on the website. There's a beautiful picture of our lemurs, and you know what?
That
This
the
is
most-
not a
that is
Photoshop
That is
picture.
a Renaissance lemur. If people who don't know, and I can describe it, and I'll try to put it on the YouTube here. It's like laying back, very like Rubenesque, like actual Ruben, the painter. There's like a rose that of course has not been photoshopped. It's natural. They just always pluck roses as they're playing flamenco
Oh,
music.
the rose is Photoshop.
I know.
That's the
I looked at it
only
a few
thing.
times. I'm like, I don't think that lemur's holding a rose, but this lemur's holding a rose and looking very come hither. And they do that a lot. Is that like they bat their eyes a little bit? And is that a lemur thing?
We
I
catch
don't
our
know,
lemurs in a
actually.
lot of poses.
Do you? They're primates, right?
They are
yeah.
primates. Yeah, that's right.
Monkeys are dirty animals. I'm not being a bad way, but I've been on a tour and I've seen a monkey being really bad, and that's where that phrase comes from. I think, like, you naughty monkey is a bad experience.
You know a lot
with
of
my
primates.
kids, with my kids at the zoo. Okay, so we can go on SafariWest.com. We can book this February, say 11th and 12th.
11th and 12th, yeah.
And this is the only time that you actually do the concentrated Wild Jungle Love tour, even though there's portions of that during the normal tour.
It's the only time we take a different spin on our tours. And we started this 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I remember we were in what we call the elephant room. We were talking to a woman, Jane Tolini from the San Francisco Zoo, and she came up and she gave us a Wild Jungle Love tour. And we were all laughing at the table. And I said, Nancy, let's do it here at Safari West. Right. And she said, no, we can't do anything like that. I go, yes, we can.
It's like, because Nancy, a lovely lady, and even though she's part of the ownership or started it, and she is kind of, what's the word, not reluctant, not prudish, but she's not like you.
Reserved.
Reserved.
She's
very reserved. I was trying to explain you to some people, and I said, well, imagine like someone who's really into animals, but talks like Dr. Ruth sometimes, because you are keeping yourself clean, which I appreciate. Sometimes you'll come up to me and say stuff, I'm like, Aphrodite, oh my God. Oh my God.
What Jane Tolini taught me during this, I never knew where the word screw came from before, and I just thought it was so hilarious that it came from these little piggies.
Oh, from the
I didn't realize they had a corkscrew.
Okay, just for everyone, you're holding up a warthog, and you're referring to the member of the warthog, which is in a corkscrew shape.
Yes.
Which, is apropos, because we are in wine country.
Yes,
and
it is. That's what I'm saying. But
Okay.
it's perfect
It all comes
spot.
back.
It all.
Oh,
So that is, and I wonder. I bet you on the tour, do you talk about why it's the male part of the?
Well, it depends on what tour.
Yeah, this tour we would talk about it a lot. Yeah.
Does the
Typically, it's less involved.
less involved in that? Okay, that's kind of interesting. And it's like, that's weird. Why is that? But that's a whole other.
We should mention, don't forget, we
that?
give away condoms on this tour.
Of course you
True.
do.
Yeah,
Of course you do. Are they branded?
They're branded. They are sloganed.
Aphrodite, you're gonna have to read these. Because I'm hold up there, but go ahead and read these.
Well,
only because my parents listen to this. Go ahead.
It's cover your spout. Don't let the right whale die out. It's just,
And there's a whale on the cover. It's a humpback
And
whale.
we have a
Polar
variety.
whale. Okay, and you guys, you offer these on the tour. These like little souvenirs on the tour.
Oh, we hope they use them.
Well, okay, of course.
I mean-
and these are
Not while
souvenirs.
they're there.
Not on the tour, but it's a takeaway. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so they can get these souvenir prophylactics only at Safari West Wild Jungle Love Tour. That is fun. And how many different varieties do you have? You like all these?
We have 6
we
or
actually have
7.
them for you, by the way.
Oh, that's very nice, Jeff. Thank you. That's you got the California condor on there. Before your clothes hit the floor, think of the California condor. That's a nice little rhyme there. Did you do that one? That's good.
This is my favorite.
That's probably, I guess the condor, it's like, don't use DDT.
Is that your favorite?
That one's my favorite one.
For the sake of the horned lizard, slow down, love wizard. This is kind of what our stupid animal that I have in my house looks like. It's a bearded dragon.
Oh, okay,
bearded
got it.
dragon. Okay, this is very clever. You guys are very smart. You're very good. I like this. We're not done yet, though. You guys know on the podcast, we have another section here where you're going to help me talk about what's happening, and then also you're going to help me answer some questions. So are you ready for this? Because I'm going to segue from Wild Jungle Love, February 11th and 12th, SafariWest.com. You also have a bunch of tours and things that are happening at Safari West, and people can always look there. Like, you have different kind of tours, different activities. I used to do a beer thing a long time ago.
Oh, Brews and Buffalo.
Blues and Buffalo. So you guys are always doing neat stuff, and that's what I love about. It's not just about here's an antelope. It's like, here's this experience you can do with antelope, and I think it brings in a bigger audience. You know, and I know even my own kids have gone up there for. You guys are so good at bringing school kids up for field trips and showing them the part of it, and they love it. It is amazing.
And a big thing we got going is the experience is personalized. You know, our guides don't follow a script. They get a group of people that come on their tour. They suss out what those people are there for, and they give a tour tailored to the guests that they have with them. And of course, we got to follow our mission. We got to teach the things that we need to teach, but also we try to make it exactly what they're looking for.
Wait a minute. Have you ever had any famous people on the tour that you can
Oh, yeah.
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 So
Do we get to talk about
who was
this?
it? Was it?
I don't know. We have kind of a little
these
pause.
people-
We don't usually mention their names.
Have you seen anybody that's been in movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Steven Spielberg? I guess he hasn't been
I
in
haven't
movies.
had Steven.
I guess he's a
I haven't,
director. Okay.
We had, by the way, I think I can mention this. We had the King of Saudi Arabia, and his bodyguard went with him on the tour.
wow.
And we had to stop his bodyguard because he had a weapon with him.
Oh.
And he protects the king.
Well, right.
And Nancy was saying, no, you cannot bring a weapon
So the
on
rule
the
is
tour.
no bodyguards with weapons.
No bodyguards
around
with
the
weapons.
Elands,
Yeah.
especially Deborah.
That's right.
I know you guys have like a lot of VIPs that come up there. I don't want to brag because we had the president or the prime minister of like Portugal here the other day. I mean, come on,
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. But I bet you guys get a lot of them because you guys have giraffes and rhinoceri and gnus. And what's the one with the horns that kind of like go down on the ground sometimes?
That's the Watusi.
The Watusi.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
the
you.
Watusi.
Thank you. Thank you, Aphrodite. She understands.
I understand that.
my charades for animals here.
We called her Eileen because she leaned over with that horn, so she was called
Oh my
Eileen.
gosh, that's so bad.
We have names, by the way,
So
to all of our
bad.
animals
They all
have
have
names.
Yeah,
That's pretty
every
good.
single one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and all of our vehicles have names too.
Oh, really? Which
Yeah.
one do you drive, Nate?
There's one that I love called eBay. You can guess where we got that
All right, so you drive eBay.
one. Yeah.
Funny enough, eBay's my favorite too.
Oh, really? Good
truck. He's a good truck.
Second favorite's Lucky.
Yeah. Lucky's a good truck.
Did you find that in a grocery store parking lot?
No, but
No,
maybe the sticker that he's got on him.
13th truck in the fleet.
Oh, that makes
really?
sense.
That's why.
By the way, these trucks aren't just trucks. They're like really big trucks. So you see the double deckers, and they're all the same, or are they different?
Different years.
Yeah.
They're all the same make.
So they're built out of vintage Dodge Power Wagons around about 1950. Some of them were military surplus. Some of them came
Okay.
from collectors. Peter and his mechanics team have been collecting and restoring them forever. And
Yeah.
the great thing about them is they're not fast and they don't turn very tightly, but they will climb through any amount of mud
High
that you
torque.
need them
They'll go
to
right
climb through.
Do any of the kids look at the stick shift and like, what is that? Because this is an old style manual transmission vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I felt I spent a year in the Caribbean doing volunteer work. It very much reminds me of trying to get around the backcountry of this island in the Caribbean, just because it was like, and when I took this tour, I'm like, oh, this is just like going to work. It was fun. It was crazy. Guys, I want to talk about two quick events that are also coming up in months ahead, so people can know about it. One is the Sonoma Speaker Series. They do speaker events, usually at the Hanna Center. They bring in different types of speakers. On March 6th, they're bringing in someone called Javier Zamora, and he's a memoirist, a poet, and speaker. He's going to talk about the immigrant experience in his new memoir called Solito, where he explores the journey to the U.S. as an unaccompanied 9-year-old. And it gives a unique and unforgettable glimpse into the realities of child migration. That's really interesting. So the speaker series actually, kind of brings it down a little bit here, but they bring in really serious, interesting speakers that, Sonoma's a pretty rural, small place, and we get these like high-touch, really interesting people, which I don't think we've had anyone from Safari West on the speaker series. So
Oh, you need to.
yeah,
You need
okay.
to.
I think I'm there. Another thing coming up in March 11th, the 165th anniversary at Gundlach Bunshu.
Yeah, Gunbun.
Gunbun, exactly. And you're from here. So, the joke about Gundlach Bunshu, if you can pronounce it, you've had enough. It is a winery here in Sonoma. What's nice about Gunbun, they have music there. They have all sorts of events and deed days when they celebrate when they got the deed for the property 165 years ago. So you guys have been around 20-something years?
30.
Years? Okay, so 130 more years from now, whatever the new podcast version is of then, we'll be talking about the 165th anniversary of Safari West.
And I'll be here on this show talking about it.
I mean, by the
I'll
way,
be right here.
we should say it is our birthday this year. We are turning 30.
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, 30th anniversary of Safari West.
Oh, so your back's going to start to hurt. That's great.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's good. Your knees are going to hurt. So it's a 30th anniversary of Safari West.
Yes.
Are you guys going to do a big party or a big cake?
Well, we're still planning it. But I think I told you in my notes, we plan to give these away every 30 days to begin with.
Okay.
Just to kind of, spread our mission around.
It is a birthday, after all.
There you go.
We are planning it.
Okay.
We like to do it around in October. I know we don't really
Is that a rough
want to
time when you were...
No, actually, it's July 4th. July 4th, 1993.
Okay.
But
there's a few other things going on around then.
Yes.
But the other thing, too, with October, we're so grateful to still be here.
Right.
I mean, the Tubbs fire, I know we don't want to constantly labor on it, but, it stays with you. You don't leave that. And we almost lost Safari West completely.
That's about 5 years ago for people who don't remember or who's not from here. Everything's fine now. But Safari West definitely, the owner, Peter, and some people made a heroic stand with some ropes, with some hoses and tractors, and saved the animals.
Yes.
And the fire literally came up to the fence line, if I recall.
Oh, it came right over
And I
there.
know it was
Right up
right
there.
by your house.
Everybody,
Yeah.
And my house was saved too, fortunately. I live right across the street. But I remember that day Peter said that he was responsible for all the souls on Safari West.
Right.
That it was his preserve. He brought the animals there, even though some were born there.
Right.
It was his responsibility.
Even though they had evacuated the whole area. And
Pardon me?
they had evacuated.
Oh yeah, but he hid.
stayed.
He hid.
He hid. But he looked like an oak tree, just like...
No, he
looked
put
like a
on.
bush.
He never wears a hoodie. He's not a hoodie type. He put on a hoodie and he went into the back of the elephant room or something. But where everybody else was evacuating, he hid. And then he came out and he found these houses and he just started to go to work.
Really?
Yeah, and someone said that he jumped over fences, and he goes, "Oh my God, at my age, I didn't jump."
He's like-
because I walked fast to the fence.
I had a power wagon. I put it in first, and I went right through it.
Yeah, he didn't.
I've done it.
That's good to know, because I want to hear more about that, especially when you do figure out when the 30th anniversary celebration is, and we'll talk about it.
Yes.
So people listening, sonomavalley.com/events, we have all these things on there. 2 more things real quick. We have an exhibit called Pomo Artists and Our Cultural Landscape, which is contemporary artwork by Pomo artists, the indigenous people that are here or have been here since the beginning. That's at Sonoma Valley Museum of Art. Also down there, a new exhibit called New Californians. They're portraits that reflect the diversity and cultural richness of California. Sonoma Valley Museum of Art, Aphrodite, I think you might have been there. It's just south of Broadway.
Yes.
This museum, it's a small museum that punches way above its weight for being in a small town in a small valley.
It's beautiful.
Really good arts down there. I'd highly recommend it. And a fantastic gift shop. It's a good one. It's a really good one.
You buy a Christmas gifts there.
Absolutely. And it's great. And they have certainly 25% off on certain days. So head down there. It's a good one.
I do. It's beautiful.
Okay, you guys, this is the part of the podcast where you help me answer questions. We call this section We Get Questions. Yeah, and I got to think of some theme music. If you're a musician, please, there's a drum behind you. Go ahead and make some up. But here we go. These are questions that we get either at the visitor center. We have 2 of them. We get them online. We get them emailed. I might make them up. But you're going to help me answer these questions. So here we go. First question. Aphrodite, Sammy, Nate, you ready?
Yep.
Yes.
We want to bring a group of about 15 people to Sonoma in April for a work retreat. What are some things we can do while there?
That's so easy.
Come to Safari West.
So easy.
So if I'm coming here for a big, powerful retreat, 15 people can go to Safari West.
Yes. The only tricky part about 15's a tough number
15,
for us
yeah.
because we fit 12 people on a truck. So you're talking about booking 2 vehicles for that, but it would still be a great activity for a group like that.
Which we do often.
Yeah,
Split
we
groups
do
of
2
15
truck
or so.
groups.
Or
We've
if some
split.
individuals, you can probably, they won't mind having other people on the tour. Can they do that if they book 15 seats? And they have 2 tours? Like you know what I'm saying? Like you don't need to have private tours per se.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you could bring all 15 for a classic tour and split up evenly the best you can,
Right.
or you could take 15 of them on 2 different trucks for private.
Okay.
We have cruise directors out there daily that work absolute magic with our numbers.
It's like
Everybody
number.
signs up.
It's number Tetris.
They have
Yeah.
little clipboards and they're
figuring out
where
who
to go.
fits
Yeah.
on what truck just to make sure everybody's
And like
comfortable.
Julie doesn't like Bobby. We got to keep them separate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have so many retreats at Safari West, but I kind of like our little special ones, the dinner on the Serengeti. I like that.
You actually have a dining room outdoor, like an indoor-outdoor dining
Well, we
space.
have the dining room is actually the elephant room, but we have other opportunities. Like we have treetops, where we have a beautiful table, and you can have.
It's like right near in one of the aviaries. It's right at the
it's
top
not an
landing.
actual on top of trees is what you're
Well,
saying.
it's not really on top of trees, but
Okay.
we call it treetops.
Got it,
It
understand.
looks like a treetop.
Yeah, 'cause I don't...
Yeah.
It's raised
Yeah.
20, 15 feet
Well,
off
it's
the
a
ground.
deck that looks
Yeah.
over the top.
Well, hold
of the
on here.
aviary.
So this is actually a good segue.
Sure.
That if you have 15 people and they're adventurous like Safari West people, they could also go do the canopy tours in the redwoods.
That's true.
Absolutely.
They do
That's true.
zip lines. And if you don't like heights, you don't have to do the zip lines. You could just walk around the redwoods out there. So that's it.
You could also do the canoe rentals, kayak rentals,
Oh, yeah.
and kayak down the Russian River.
Okay.
That's a lot of fun. You could always do Schultz Museum plus ice skating.
Oh, good.
Which is
that's a fun one.
Yeah,
That is a fun one.
absolutely.
Okay. What if there are 15 people and we don't like doing stuff, but we like eating and drinking wine?
you came to the right place.
Better, no better county.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, that one's always funny because it's like, we want to go wine tasting. I'm like, okay, well, just walk down the street.
Where do we go?
Yeah.
Point.
Well, what I love recommending to people is, wine tasting is great, but the cheese trail.
Oh, yeah?
I love the cheese
Do you?
trail.
Okay, it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that last week with Shauna Davis. She has a new butter cookbook out, but she's a cheesemaker here in town. And yeah, and we have the California Cheese Trail, which is part of the Sonoma Trail. There's a Vela cheese down the street here, but throughout the entire part of Northern California, a lot of chances to get cheese.
Especially if you go a little further out towards the coast. There's just
Yes.
so many
Heading
places.
out towards
Point
Petaluma
Reyes
there,
and
Point
stuff,
Reyes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, Marin French cheese, Point Reyes.
All right, so you guys passed the test so far. Good job. You guys can be volunteers. Here's the next question. This comes from Brandy from Atlanta. It comes in on social media. Hello. That's what she said. Everybody, hello, y'all. I got to do Atlanta. We will be staying in Sonoma while touring Napa and Sonoma in May. What are your favorite Sonoma Valley wineries? We are going to have to narrow to 3, which is so hard. Smiley face emoji. I'm typically a cab and blend girl. So cab and blend. We have others that are Pinot drinkers. Thanks so much. So 3 wineries, cabs and red blends, but also Pinot Noir. If you don't have to be a wine person, what are some 3 wineries they should check out?
I like Gunbun.
Gunbun.
I
That's
really
great.
do.
That sounds-
I love them all, but I
Right.
just love the atmosphere there, and I just love being there.
Okay.
And then if I want some history, I like the the winery that's in Sonoma down Castle Road. Why am
I'm trying
I?
to think of the name of it.
Buena
yeah.
Vista?
What is-
Buena Vista. Yeah.
Or Sebastian
Yes,
Buena Vista?
yes, Buena Vista.
That's a great history.
Oh, Sebastiani is always
Sebastiani,
nice
yeah.
too. Just those barrels and smelling the wine. Oh my God!
And you can
That's-
walk to it from the plaza,
Oh.
and there's a trail that goes behind it, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
You guys are good.
Oh,
All right.
I can smell the wine right now.
Just look up. I just like anywhere you can do a cave tour.
Cave tour.
I
Okay.
love
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's funny because you think, wine cave, they're industrial, pragmatic things, but they're also romantic and interesting and fun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a hole in the ground. And it's neat, though. So I love them. I love Rapri, which is up on Moon Mountain here in Sonoma Valley, has a great cave, and you can go into it. Deerfield Ranch has good caves. Kunde has caves. Everywhere. If you look one on the side of the hills and you can see it kind of goes back, odds are they have a cave into that hill. The caves, of course, are not to encourage you to go there during the apocalypse, so that's a good place to go. It's also how you keep wine cool from back in the day. So that's good to know. Okay, and then you guys ready for another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Prudence from Instagram. So here we go, dear Prudence. What are some trip ideas in Sonoma Valley?
Some trip ideas. So
Yeah,
day trip?
Nate, what do you got? So she was pretty. What are some trip ideas in Sonoma Valley?
Oh, okay. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're active, you could do the Sonoma Adventures and rent bicycles and go around all the different
Oh, yeah,
places
good
you can
one.
bike to.
Okay, good.
The cheese trail, again, you can go taste a bunch of cheeses.
Good.
I do love the combo of, Gloria Ferrer and Jacuzzi
good.
over there. You can do the olive oil tasting and the wine tasting.
That's true. And Gloria Ferrer has sparkling wine.
Yep, absolutely.
And, yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Nate, you're talking your way into becoming a volunteer at our South Visitor Center. Good job. Sammy or Aphrodite, you got any ideas? Trip ideas?
Of day trips, I think probably I love the coast. I love the going to Jenner,
gonna
but
say,
every day I
the ocean.
absolutely love the coast. I just love to smell the air, smell the wine, and just kind of
Yeah.
refresh.
The Sonoma Coast
And
is
Armstrong
stunning.
Woods too. I
Armstrong
love
Woods.
that.
We are truly lucky. The freeway that runs through Sonoma Valley is Highway 12. It also runs out to the coast. You have this incredible diversity from Sonoma Plaza, historic, wine country, agriculture. It goes through Santa Rosa, so Charles Schulz Museum. You could take a little scurry up north to Safari West if you want. And then Highway 12 continues through Santa Rosa and goes out towards the West County, and then goes out towards the coast eventually through what we call the agricultural dairy lands and stuff like that. It's beautiful. It's a great drive.
It's gorgeous. It really is.
All right.
Also, definitely check out Jack London Park.
Okay.
Excellent park. You get to see some really amazing stuff. I didn't know how interesting of a person I was. Like, I know him. He's the author, Wild or Call the Wild, White Fang stuff. Right. And then you go there and you kind of learn about his life, and you see like the home that he had commissioned and built, and then it burnt down within its last week before they were going to move in.
Yeah.
And it was the top stories were wood and the bottom stories were stone, so the stone still is there.
It's kind of these creepy
and
ruins.
It's called
there.
the Wolf House. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
And he was an agronomist. Like, he would try different agricultural experiments. And he had the pig palace he had. He was trying to raise different pigs. And
he thought he was going to make a fortune on eucalyptus in lumber and brought a bunch of eucalyptus over to find out it's bad lumber.
Not a perfect man.
No.
Not a perfect man. It's sort of like
try and
Luther Burbank and those blackberries. Now they're everywhere. Final.
As a child, when I was maybe 10 years old, then every summer we came to Sonoma County, and I would be in my father's car. I always threw up all over the back seat because that's the kind of kid I was. Right. But I always made it through the drive, and would always open my eyes when we came to those beautiful rolling hills.
Oh, nice.
And we had a home in Glen Ellen on Warm Springs Road.
Oh, okay.
And went swimming at the Jack London Pool for a nickel.
Wow.
We actually walked up to the Jack London Pool at that time. There was a pool at the time. My father had his whiskey, and we had our swim. It was
Dad knew how to do it
little
right.
family.
All right, great. Okay, that's good. The Jack London Pool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was. We're going back 65 years or 70 years. So it's going back a number of years.
Final question we got: what airport should we fly into for a visit to Sonoma?
Oakland.
Yes, Sonoma County. Charles Schulz.
Well, Oakland's also a good one. So this is funny.
Oakland is a great option.
Notice you didn't say SFO. That's the key.
So on sheer number, you're right. Most people fly into San Francisco. For people that are looking for still a lot of options, and it's close to here, actually, Oakland's a great option. A fantastic option, but not as many flights. STS, or Sonoma County Airport, named after Charles M. Schulz, who was from here. Some people also fly into Sacramento, and they drive. It's only, the tourism brochure says it's only about an hour and 10 minutes. I would say it's Sunday at 2 a.m.
Generous.
So those are all airports within the region. Definitely, I'm sure the closest to Safari West is probably STS or Sonoma County Airport.
What, 10, 15 minutes?
Something like that, yeah. And then Oakland's also very close. And SFO is fantastic. There is a bus from SFO and Oakland up to Santa Rosa and Petaluma, and that can kind of get you to Sonoma or up to Safari West. So
Yeah, but if you fly into STS, you can land and taste wine in the airport.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. And if you overshoot the runway, you can it's so it's win-win.
Really expedite things there.
My house is right there. Guys, this has been fantastic. You guys are wonderful guests. I just want to make sure if people have more questions about Safari West, who's going to tell me where to go? Aphrodite, where do they go to get more information about Safari West online?
www.safariwest.com.
That was so good. Thank you. And then, so the tours again that we're talking about, the Wild Jungle of February
11th and 12th.
11th and 12th, but there's always tours going on and things like that.
And also, give us a call. We always have people on the phone. We're happy. We offer a lot of different experiences. And yes, all the information is on the website, but the website's got, a dozen or so pages? There's a lot of different things we do. So if you just want to talk to us about planning a trip.
You can actually talk to a human being on the phone.
If you pick up the phone and call us. You can pick up the phone and somebody will answer and spend time with you on the phone.
707-579-2551. Yeah, give us a call.
That's almost a jingle. I should have recorded that with some music in the back.
There you go.
Guys, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you coming, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
For everyone else listening, remember, tell your friends to subscribe to the podcast so they can hear more about Safari West and all the awesome things we do. Mom and Dad, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.